Hey guys, so it's been about 7-8 days since my last video, so I wanted to make an updated video talking about the evolution of the build, walk you through some of the swaps and the benefits that you get in detail. So in the last 7 days, just to kind of recap, essentially, a buddy of mine reached out to me. He just had sold his CoC build. He was really interested to try twisters, and I was open to the idea because I wanted to um, use the currency on trying some other things like Rarity Bot, and I was going to do some stuff on Oracle. So I kind of agreed to it. So he carried on the build. He made some good upgrades, like he got the 3 sinister socket voices. He found this megalomaniac that I just showed you, a few other minor upgrades, and he was really enjoying the build. He was really happy with it. And I was kind of done with twisters. I've did everything. But I kind of had this one idea in the back of my mind that if a very particular item was to come on the marketplace, then I would try to attempt to, evolve the build further. And as luck would have it, this item did come on the marketplace. So what I'm talking about is this twisted amulet here. It's a very giga anoints combination, 2 anointed combinations, which is augmented flesh and gifts. Now, quick disclaimer: I totally get, like, if you want to try to mimic this, it's going to be hard to find this, but you can allocate stuff in a myriad of ways, right? If you have your select chase anoints that you're looking for, you can get stuff essenced on your chest. You can get stuff raven touched on your helmet. You can go through a different set of megalomaniacs to find the combination in any different number of ways. I just couldn't be bothered because in my build specifically, very kind of niche pieces, 30 quality helmet, perfect stats, crit chance. I just didn't want to have to re-roll this again. Couldn't be bothered, to be honest. So kind of I said, if this item came, which it did, we kind of, I told my buddy, look, there's some improvements we can do. We want to pull currency together and see if we can push it further. He was totally down. So this is why the gear is on me now. I'm going to finish this video, and then he's probably going to be continuing to play. So if you are going to follow Ninja, you might not see me. You might see kind of his name, and I'll put his name in the description if you're interested, just to kind of see the PoENinja stats side of it. But I will be sharing my tree with you here, which you can also access independently of Ninja, just a snapshot, if you want to use it as reference or as a build guide. All right, so let's talk about the justification, right? So we had a pretty good setup. Like, we didn't need to run Spirit previously. We fit everything perfect. And a lot of you said the build plays really nice, especially once I kind of, walked you through some of the fixes that you can do with 200 daily maps in terms of like your EVA and your ES, right? So when we add augmented flesh, what this allows us to do is essentially, obviously, run 2 additional skills, provided we have the cost of, usually it's spirit cost of those new gems that you want to slot in. So this deck has been known for a while now in the previous patches, right? So you can run the combination of Eternal Rage with Berserk. So one is a generator. This is a way you generate rage passively, very quickly. And it has to be allocated in both weapon sets. So it's kind of costly, right? Or it was costly in previous seasons. And then you would use Berserk, which is your amplifier. So it gives you more rage effect, right? So you generate with this, and then you basically scale damage or scale the effect of rage through Berserk. So that's been a known combination. But why it's more lucrative, or why it's very interesting to pursue this option in 0.5 is because of this new gem. So at Zeri Chalice, essentially, if it's socketed on a spirit gem that costs 100 spirit, which Eternal Rage does, it instead reserves 66% of the cost. Excuse me, it's 66% of the cost. So 66 spirit is your life cost instead, right? So what this interaction allows us to do is it allows us to permanently be low life. And the definition of low life in Path of Exile 2 is that you simply must be 35% or less of your maximum life, okay? And because it's 66 on 100, this puts us just over that threshold. So what this does is essentially puts us at low life. Now, why is that important, or why is that good? Well, 2 things. If we look at rage, so we already are creating rage through whirlwind slash right, so we have a way to additionally generate rage on hit. So it kind of has a nice synergy there, but we want to be rage infused, let's call it, because of this gem here. So Rage Forge 2, and we'll go to the POB kind of page and see the numbers in a second. But consume spend spend 10 rage to deal 35% more damage. So it's quite incredible. And also, obviously, we would run it on Rage Forge 2. And when you pair this with low life tech, which if we look at the available gems for low life, there's two incredible gems. One of them is Dire Strike 2 and 1, and you can run both. So for a total combined of 70% here and 50% here. So it's 120 plus Execute, which is a direct drop-in replacement for any Elemental Ornament 2 gems that you're running, because it's sorry, not Execute 2, but Execute 3. The line we're looking for is here, 30% more damage versus Elemental Ornament, which is 25. Is it? That's right. So it's quite a nice damage multiplier improvement. So because we're able to run Dire Strike 2 on the Scepter, we have good synergy there to get the Spirit for free, Spirit Gem for free, and then we're also able to squeeze in through a perfect 50 Spirit Amulet, this Dire Strike 1, 20%. And again, we have perfect allocation, so 290 now on the second weapon set and 150, right? Because we're getting 100, we're getting 50 from the amulet. So I'll go over the skill gems and the allocation changes there, because there is a few changes. This is essentially the build. So we're doing two things. We're adding rage, which gives us crazy damage. And it also, through gaining these two gems, we're also gaining low life, which gives us crazy damage. And the last thing I forgot to mention is the important big notable, which is called Pain Attunement. And this one gives you 30% more critical damage bonus when on low life perma. And I notice it says more, which means that it's a multiplier versus being an additive stat, like any of the other critical damage multiplier increases, such as, I don't know, let's look at, push the advantage, 40% increased versus 30% more. It's a gigantic leap in damage. Okay. So, and the way we get Pain Attunement is we are using the Aldur's Legacy. There's a unique item called Crown of the Thorns, and if you take its legacy, you get Pain Attunement. So that's how we're getting it. You can also get it through by, there's a jewel that you can get it on, but like I don't want to path to get any more sockets. It's very expensive. I think I have to waste 8 slots. It's not worth it. I instead did this, and I'll show you how we get some of the evasion back that we're losing from the full life evasion tech I was running previously. Okay, so that's kind of the gist of the swap. Pretty basic, but it's really neat. You get a lot more damage, as you saw in Eclipse. The only thing that you have to manage is you have to manage your ability to survive on the life, because now, ES becomes very important. Deflect becomes really important, which is why I swapped boots with deflection. Previously, I was just on ES. I didn't have a reason to go deflect on the boots, which I was probably going to do anyways, because I really wanted to get those chronomancy suffixes. And by the way, I'm probably going to re-roll this. Like cooldown, I got a T1, I stopped, but ideally, because like you guys play the build with Barrage and you play it with this unique support, lineage support. Like I'm never like in a position where, and I clear really fast, right? Like I'm up to 10.5, 10, 11 attacks per second on my weapon set 1, and I never have issues with cooldown on Barrage. So I don't know if cooldown is that important. I would rather have not consume charges on Barrage, perhaps, to get it to 35%. Or what's the other one? I forget what the other one is. But of course, priority 1 is to get skill effect duration, just to give us that quality of life, so your twisters can linger a bit longer. Okay, so that's kind of the gist of the decision making behind the swap. All right, guys. Well, now let's look at the gear pieces quickly. So starting with the weapon set 1, So Soaring Spear at 2.66, very easy to self-craft. Some people go with the Desecrate to get additional spirit. If you're following my build, you most likely don't need to do it. So I advocate for increased area of effect, which basically increases the radius or the range of your whirlwind, so you can get more rage hits in when you're doing melee slashes. Um, Very deterministic way to craft it. Always roll T1 attack speed with blue base, convert it to rare, and then you can have your deterministic 2 crafts, and then you desecrate, so you always hit one of the desired mods, and I would divine perfect, whatever the minus the last one, because the last one you can have it be, I forget what the breakpoint is, like 20, um, 25 perhaps, or 24 even. But anyways, double check that and roll it perfect. Hit the fracture, whatever you hit the fracture with, you can get it to this state, and it's usable. But if you want to get to 2.66, you would have to get an extra socket. So that's kind of the RNG element there. So you just put some currency aside and have some good RNG luck to make this. You can actually make a really nice one now with the new update they did, and whatever the latest patch was. So when you corrupt, if you're lucky enough and you get a enchant increased attack speed, the roll on it is 6 to 8, and if you were to get the 8, it's actually higher than the 6 that you would get from a single socket. So that's already better than the socket roll itself, but you can actually take it a step further. And with the new currency that they've introduced, where you can amplify the effect of enchants, if you were to roll it and if you were to waste or fill, excuse me, all the affixes, you would have one dead suffix that you can sacrifice, and you would have one dead prefix if you were to go with the spirit desecration. So it's basically a chance of 1 in 6 to not break, because when you're using that new currency, it's going to remove something, and if you remove your attack speed or whatever, it's kind of a brick. So extremely expensive, but I mean, I've seen a couple, and it's an amazing item. And you saw some clips like when I play with my banner bot, and he's giving me a banner with attack speed or whatever, or the scepter that he's running, he's giving me attack speed, and then it's just in some maps, I just break the server. And then you saw my DPS tooltip, which actually overflows, and I think it's just a UI issue. I've seen some other people post videos with similar issues, like on Monkey Builds. There's a guy that had this bug, but I think it's incredible to hit that negative overflow with Twister, right? Because with Twister, it's the DPS tooltip is per Twister, right? And Twisters deal damage per whatever the duration. Every can hit 0.66. So this tooltip is like very conservative, right? Because it's accounting for that extra multiplier of twisters you have. So to have this number go negative, negative integer, it's quite an accomplishment on Twister, I feel like, because it's easier to do it on one-shotting skills. Anyways, so yeah, that's the spear. The main spear here is. So I bought out my buddies, like I told you guys early in week 1. I bought this mirrored version of the spear. I actually bought out the spear from him. So if you want to mirror this, if you're playing the build, let me know. I'll charge you a cheap fee. I'll just put it towards my piggy bank of potentially saving up blocks, so I can hit some massive sanctify on this. But yeah, and I prefer the fizz base myself personally. If you were to put 2 perfect spears on the Akoyan, which is the crit chance base, side by side, you'll probably see that the elemental base wins in DPS, not by much, but it does. But a fizz base is always more lucrative to resell, because people are still playing lightning spear this league, which I believe I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it uses fizz as base as a percent for the skill that converts to lightning. It's just a more nicer base to have. And it's harder to hit Sanctify because you have such high rolling ranges on those 3 prefixes. So that's my choice. But you can't go wrong with a triple LE spear either. Um, but the other thing is, some people ask me like, why are you running attack speed? You're playing Twister. There's no innate benefit. Well, you can say it's not, but I'm a very fast player. Like I go for feel a lot. The other option is you can craft Onslaught here, but I'm playing Spirit Walker. We don't need Onslaught. We get it for free via Soaring Ground, as you can see here. Um, and it's like 80% uptime in most maps, which is like, it's good enough. I don't see a reason to. And also, most importantly, like I actually do use my spear throws. Like I have my one allocation for my multi shot. Well, I'll talk about it when I get to the skill section, but I use it still, right? Like I actually play with this. And maybe it would be fun to try actually a Temporalis build just with spear throw. Like put crazy, what is that gem that gives you like random fork, surpass, and chain chance, and just because I already have such crazy damage. Just use a Temporalis, blink around, and use spear throw everywhere. It'd be pretty fun to try that out. Anyways, so that's the spear. Helmet, crafted this recently, upgraded. I had like a 25 or 24. Sold it recently, crafted this. Frenzied Bear is better. It's not going to give you PoENinja benefits as is on the DPS tooltip, but it's much better than like anything else that's available to me, which is like push the advantage or whatnot, because 30% more damage if you consumed recently every 4 seconds. This is pretty much 100% uptime, and the skill speed almost 100% uptime. I actually benefit a lot from stats because I'm kind of stats deprived. Like a lot of the stuff is very close to minimum limit or minimum requirement because the Throne of Rage is strength based. So not only are we requiring max dex for our dex skills, we're also requiring int for our int skill, which is charge regulation. No, I was confused. Elemental Conflux is intelligence base, and then Eternal Rage. So if you're trying to play the build, you might have to like play um, around with your skills to make sure you get the maximum base gem requirement, and then always corrupt up because you get the corruption for free. It doesn't roll the requirement up. So you might have to go down a level, go up a level, depending on like your attribution, right? So that's the only thing that's finicky that you're gonna have to play with if you try this build, because it's a lot to pack in a small package, and that's why like stuff that gives us like um, attributes is really good. So you keep an eye out for those, and then you try to path and allocate your stats as needed. Scepter is still the same, just our spirit 140 max, double socket. Crit chance, obviously very important on a helmet. So I talked about the amulet. Rolling this last desecrate, I don't know, I was cursed. I spent maybe like close to 1.5 mirrors just bloody rolling this. I hit T2 crit damage maybe 11, 12, 13, 14 X times, and I could just not hit T1 crit damage. So it really fought me. I mean, desecration is a scam because of how many times you roll those desecrate mods. Or I just got unlucky. But it's nice because, like there's a more cheaper way to do this if I went for crit hit chance fracture. But I just wanted to have all of them open for Sanctify effect. If you see the value in this, I have this up for mirror service. I'll charge you a very small fee. But yeah, the only negative side is if you mirror it, you can't go for a +4. But if you see value in the annoyance, which it's going to be hard to come by if you're in the same spot as I am, where you're very particular with your investment pieces, you may need something like this. Just let me know. I crafted this ring for mirror service. I didn't take shortcuts with it. It's a 75 quality, so maximum quality on a refined base. Max fractured lightning, and it's a 207 out of 210. So it's a 98.5 EV. Really nice with attack speed, a bit of rarity, and all resist. And I didn't take shortcuts because I didn't desecrate the third prefix, which most people do. And this allowed me to deterministically roll rarity, right? So very nice ring. When you upgrade your tamings, because right now is the time, the bases are cheap. start corrupting these. What you want is you want maximum. You want maximum increased damage. Oh, I just realized something. Or am I crazy? 20%, right? So why is it going to 24? Oh yeah, because it's so this can actually roll even higher. I thought 20. I thought I made a mistake. I had thought that 24 is the max after over corrupting, but it looks like. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. So what you want is the maximum number percent you can get here, and any anoint. Just look at PoB like what you prefer. And I need a lot of resist, so I went for this option like this. This double corrupt here doesn't matter. The damage is nice to have. The chest, still running the same chest with Tharma, Theurgic Generator, deflection and stats, and then just playing out with this 15% damage recoup. Well, not recoup, but damage transfer, or whatever you want to call the mechanic. Because we are low life, so I'm just trying to really see one shots still is a problem for me. Occasionally, I've worked on it through deflection. I might have to do a few more changes, but I mean, you would still die on a like a projectile dex type build, even if you're full life, full evasion. Sometimes, it's just sometimes it's cancer. But in the clips you saw, I'm pretty comfy. I could get my ES up probably. But so kind of I'll make some comments in the comment section if I find something that's really good. That's worthy of your attention. And then the gloves. In hindsight, projectile speed is not one of the best stats anymore. It's projectile damage because when you swap to, and I didn't account for this when I crafted these, but when you swap over to the Rage low life tech, you can actually drop projectile speed acceleration for something better, like elemental armament for more damage, even though it starts to feel bad because the 40% is actually quite good on twisters. So it depends on you, but if I was to do it again, I would try to roll projectile damage versus speed, because we could potentially drop off projectile speed in the future via this acceleration 3. The belt's still the same, max damage with reses. Sulfur, like I said before, can be gold if you want rarity. That's just how I can quickly or easily fix rarity on this build. Is right now I'm at 36. Oh yeah, and plus the charm, right? 15. Yeah. So 35, 45, 50. So around 50 plus 66. So I'm over 100 with the belt. So just one stat here, and then you're okay for solo farm. You'll still see a good number of currency drop. Yeah, so I talked about skill effect duration. So we took out movement speed completely. And this way we have a pretty good chunk of evasion, yes, on a hybrid base. Usually hybrid bases are pretty shit. But this one is really good, 600 and 215. And of course the quality is helping here. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the gear. And we're using Ignite just for the guard. That's why we're using the blue base here. And Ignite is good because we're low life. So if we start taking fire damage from burning ground or whatever, then this thing is really quite essential. Okay. All right, guys. And finally, let's look at the tree. So what have I done? The core elements stay the same. You want your 6 points from your resonance allocation. And make sure you're taking Charka of Thought on your weapon set 1. It's really good to have that damage deflection, or not deflection, but redirect. And of course, the attack speed on weapon set 1. Very nice. Damage here, right? So just damage. Oh, one very important thing is I've swapped over to a diamond base. Now I got really disappointed because my initial thought was I can get double critical damage bonus and one. Excuse me. I was hoping I can get triple critical damage bonus, because if you combine across the different jewel bases, you know that you have critical damage bonus. On I think it's the emerald or the other one. Emerald's green, the blue one, the sapphire one. critical damage bonus, and then there's critical damage bonus for attack damage, and then there's critical damage bonus for spears. But unfortunately, this one here, if you look at the PO2DB, it's got a tag. Okay, it's not showing here, but there's a tag associated to it, and it's like an internal tag of what type of suffix it is, and it's part of the critical damage bonus family. And critical damage bonus for attack damage and critical damage bonus are the same internal tag. Therefore, you roll one, you can't roll the other. I actually spent a little bit of a currency trying to fish, and I stopped. I realized quickly, of course, but still. Kind of a nuance here, but this is still one of the best bases. Why? Because you get increased effect of notable passive skills. So the way we are, and this is why Garokans is so strong, guys. I want to make this really clear, is with the sinister, the voices and the sinisters, we're going to be getting critical hit chance here. So it's very easy to get crit capped at 50, and this is why, again, I want to stress a coin base is really good for damage builds because of the crit hit chance base, 12% versus flying spear. Yeah, you get quality of life and the projectile speed, but then you have to make up all that critical hit chance. Why do that? Get yourself the ability to get crit hit chance quickly, and then you gain yourself back the freedom. And the freedom is expressed, for example, here. We finally drop critical hit chance on the time lost for more damage, right? And you can see here I'm still crit capped. Right now I'm 48.62 because I need to swap here. But I'm actually fixing my jewels. I'm re-rolling one of them. And I was doing math and POB, and I'm very close. Like I'm like 0.01 off. So I was just doing a swap. But what I'm trying to prove here is, you guys see the value of critical hit chance, right? Prioritize that over everything, and then it just gives you back points that you can further enhance your build with. Okay, at least that's my stance. That's my humble opinion. Don't take it at face, like take everything at what I say at not at face value, but just as an opinion. But you guys seem to have a lot of luck with my build. Most of you that messaged me, with a couple of caveats on the defensive layer side, but I worked with you on that mostly, and I think most of you are quite happy. So this is how we scale more damage. We're able to drop critical hit chance on the suffix and put this notable, which then amplifies the effect of critical damage bonus. Okay, so that stays the same. This is self-explanatory. We're now dropping this, okay, because we're so high up, and I checked POB. It does not make sense to spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points for just the value of the Against the Darkness 2 nodes. Okay, it's not worth it anymore. Of course, we still keep the jewel because we're still getting 3 here, and at some point I was running Charkov Life, but I found a better combination in terms of damage. Like when I put on everything on POB, and actually let me give me a second. Let me boot up POB right now. Actually, okay, sorry about that. I just booted up my tree. So one thing that I'm doing, just so you know, the Sinister jewel sockets are not fixed as of recording. I know it's in their dev branch, so it's going to be pushed out as an update shortly, but as of this video, it's not yet. So what I've done is I've just put them in the custom place right now so that they're registering, so I can see my crit cap. So if I take out my Garokans for a second, you can see that I'm overflowing only 0.83, which I'm actually going to fix further by swapping out one jewel and then finishing divining the other ones. Okay, so what I wanted to show you here is the transition with some things enabled, because it's hard to see the tree in game. So again, look at the power of low life, right? I go from 137 to 300 million damage. Okay, that's just how powerful low life is. And I've annoyed the owner of PoENinja also, and I saw Local Identity join the conversation. That made me very happy. They actually are adding support for this in the next patch. So if you guys swap to this build, you're gonna get a nice DPS increase on Ninja as well. Okay, so it's they're making changes. They're going to be improving the interaction. So you'll see it that low life toggle by default in the near future. Um, so it's going to be more reflective in Ninja, and people are going to start to wake up and realize the benefits of low life tech. You're going to see a rise in people swapping over to the meta of low life. Okay, so what we want to do is, because we're taking this dual socket here, I've actually swapped out. I believe I had some points here. We're taking this out, and we're instead grabbing this because it's 8% attack speed only only for 2 points. Excuse me. It was not this wheel that got transferred over. Um, it was this one here. So 3 points versus 2 points. So 8% here for 3 points, or 8% here for 2 points. So we save a point. We still have this. This is massive, right? Still have this. I also am now switching acceleration and the skill speed only to weapon set 1. And the swap here, so in my old tree, you guys are most likely specking 4 points here. What we can do is, if you see value in the charges, you can put them up at set 1, so you can overcap the limit to 5 on up at set 1. But as long as you generate them, they're going to stay at 5 max. So what this means is we just have 5 maximum charges available to us, which I think is really good for the cost of, what are we losing here? We're losing 1.9% attack rate, but we're already so high. If we look at, I mentioned to you guys, I'm already having issues with the game stability. So I, I kind of had to drop or nerf my own attack speed. What are we at? Yeah, 10.46. You see that? We're still at 10.46 because I made the swaps here. So follow this tree. It's a bit more optimized. 2 really important nodes we're taking is over here. This low life. Let me switch back. You'll see the importance here. So are you always low life? Yes. And I have to go weapon set 2. Now look at that, 7.1 million damage, right? Massive node. We want to be taking this. And we're still taking elixir. We're still taking this attack speed stuff here. This has not changed. This is still here because we're shotgunning. Like you see my play style. I don't put twisters and wait for them to deal damage. I throw my twisters. I run through them. I treat it like Aladdin, like I'm kiting the map. I throw my twisters and I just run through the map. Everything dies. So this is good because we're actually pretty close to the enemy. And then I found a way to fit in my one of my favorite nodes, which is this one here, which is like a hybrid of attack damage and attack speed. So I found a way to make it work by dropping the points here. Okay. And that would get you to 98. So it's level 98 plus the martyr point to 99. Or if you have that thing from Expedition, another point. So you have an extra point if you're level 98. If you have that, I don't know, maybe just put it on bonus or something. Yeah, put it on damage bonus. Maybe there's something else we can swap here. Nothing else jumps out at me. But yeah, so this is what you want to do. Or you can take this. If you need attributes, you can also take this. Because I told you can have issues with attributes, but I found a way to take this out. Because it doesn't give you anything otherwise. It's just attributes. Okay, that's one point here that you can bounce back and forth in. So otherwise, this feels really good. I'm also crit chance here. I want to be... I wonder why I messed this up. I want to be damage here. So 48.23. And yeah, I guess... Oops. I guess I can run this because we're also getting critical hit chance in other ways that's not accounted for right now as well. But I like to be 50% without the extra boosts. I think it was just an issue with one of my jewels. I have to put some crit chance back in. Yeah, I was playing around here. Anyways, you guys get the point. This is a really important node, Defiance. This is how we're getting some evasion back because we're low life. So we're not really needing to path to bestial skin. Bestial skin. So, but if you are having issues, you can drop more damage here. Come like this. This is one variant. If you are evasion based, then you would probably come here, take this, and you can get some evasion. You can get some intelligence if you're lacking to get the max level on that spirit gem that's using that's intelligent based. Okay, but this is pretty much the new tree. All right, guys. Well, let's talk about the skill and the support gems next, quickly. So in terms of whirling slash, everything stays the same as per above. We're keeping the same configuration, self-explanatory. On Twister, we're changing it up. We're slotting in Rage Forge 2 for damage, Execute 3 for damage, and we can keep Projectile Acceleration 3, or you can put in Elemental Ornament 2 if you just want more damage. But most people are probably going to want to benefit from the projectile speed, especially if you have gear pieces that give you projectile speed that translates to damage, even though Elemental Ornament 2 is going to be higher, most likely after the swap. Barrage, again, just retention of charges, doubled uses on cooldown with less recovery rate. But this is fine, even with my attack speed. You see how fast my build is. I don't have issues. I don't even require this cooldown recovery here. I'm going to try to get the, not the removal of charges, to get even more sustain. Okay, so for heralds, a little bit different here because we are going to be spirit deprived. So what you want to do is remove them from weapon set 1, keep them on weapon set 2, obviously. And then for combat frenzy, what you want to do is keep it on both weapon sets. I did some testing. I think this is better because what's happening is it only procs when you freeze, electrocute, or pin. So if you are shooting your projectiles and then you're moving quickly immediately after, previously we didn't have combat frenzy in. So what that means is if you were to achieve the condition to freeze, for example, you would not be getting the charges. So it's good to run combat frenzy now in both weapon sets, but it's fine to drop the heralds. Elemental conflux for more damage. We're going to run in weapon set 2. Okay. With the +3 omen, because there's nothing really that you can put as a support gem. Get it to the maximum level that you can. Always corrupt it, and then you should always quality corrupt because they're cheap, because they're not even using the 5 slots. I'm just lazy. I haven't done it, but you should get it to 23 always and +1. For Trinity, no more Diela Desire Abuse required. Some of you were kind of mad at that. So it's totally fine. Just keep it here. And we're actually going to keep Trinity on in both weapon sets now. The reason being that I think they're also, if you watched my previous video when I talked about the skill speed interaction, most likely still working, even though it probably shouldn't in the wrong weapon set. So I'm assuming, I'm kind of accounting this might get hotfixed or fixed, or maybe there isn't even any issue, because like I said in the previous video, I don't have conclusive evidence. It was just my very small sample size. But assuming the skill works as intended, 21% skill speed on weapon set 1 is extremely huge. So now with this configuration, we're able to run it. So why not? Let's run it because we have the extra spirit. So Trinity now is both weapon sets, and Dialis can stay as is. Charge regulation is going to be weapon set 1, just for the additional skill speed on frenzy charge consumption primarily, and of course the other two is just a nice boon if you get the EVA from the endurance charge. Berserk, you're only running on weapon set 2, and you're going to slot on Dire Strike 1 for more damage. And you're going to use an omen to support the levels. Again, get max level, get quality over corrupt, and get level corrupt. Oh, actually, my gems are not even. Yeah, because I had the bug where you know that bug, guys, where the Eternal Rage turns off. You can't turn it back on. Super annoying. I was wasting so much currency trying to buy the new gem. I thought it was completely bricked. But if it happens to you where you can't turn it back on, like this, I hope I didn't break it completely. But you would. I saw a guy on Reddit talk about this. So you would control click. So you would control left click, control right click. Oh, I bricked it now fully. Oh my gosh. Why? Why? Okay. Of course I don't have enough spirit. Oh, it's running something now that it shouldn't. Heralds are off. Let me turn Trinity off. Oh no, okay. 1 second. Yeah, you see this? I have to turn off. Oh, I hate this so much. There's so many bugs with this game. So yeah, it tells me that I do that. There we go. Okay, this is the fix. So you have this issue, you can't turn it on. So you're gonna drag the gem to your inventory, and then you're gonna control click, and it's gonna be able to put it on. And then if you slot the thing, it's not gonna let you do it on. So what you have to do is like this, then turn it on. And then with Trinity turned off, you do this. Oh my god, what a sequence, boys. There we go. So does that make sense? I don't want to break it again, but you drag it in inventory, you control left click, turn off Trinity, put in the chalice, turn it on, and then turn back your Trinity on, and then turn on your combat frenzy on. There we go. Okay, so this should be +1 level and quality, of course. I just forgot to do it because I was buying new gems all the time because of this bug. Okay, so that's the perfect allocation, perfect spirit allocation, perfect gem allocation. All right, guys. The only other variation that I want to share with you is there's actually a way to incorporate cast on crit now. You can't run cast on element because it's only cast on crit that gives you the reservation efficiency from quality, and that's the only way we can fit it is with the fact that we can save some quality. And the way that you would run it is if you drop elemental conflux, and if you take out dire strike 1, you have 90 spirit. And if we put it like this, turn Trinity back on, so I need 80 spirit. So if I hot swap Dialis through our bug abuse, all right, so boys, drop elemental conflux, so you drop a little bit of damage here for cast on critical. We do have to do the Dialis bug abuse here, unfortunately. So as you can see here, 80 spirit, hot swap, and then cast on critical goes online, and then dire strike. You can put it on. It's not going to make much of a difference because weapons at 1 are not doing damage, but whatever. You can put it on charge regulation, let's say. One, it's trying to run. Maybe turn off this as well. There we go. Yeah, so turn off common praising in one, and then keep Trinity on both, and then you have a way to cast on critical. And there's a multitude of things you can do here. Some people do the frost wall thing for extra damage with that crystal skill. Something you can do is if you're lacking damage, you can try cast on critical, and then you would get your frost wall HP up as much as possible, and then you would run the crystal tech with Verglass. So then you would infuse your twisters with more damage, crazy damage. But I don't do that. I run tornado instead because we gotta have some synergies here. We gotta play into the semantics of wind skills. So because you have the taming gives you wind skills, can be boosted by elemental ground surfaces for free, basically, right? They get counted for free. This is why we have this nice kind of like RGB looking infused effect on our skills. So here's the thing, though. I don't know what's going on, but tornado. If I self cast it, you can see it's got the elemental infusions, not infusions, but excuse me, the boost from the elemental grounds. But if I put it on cast on critical, and if I was to cast, I have to go in a map. But if I was to cast it, it's going to be white, which indicates that it's not boosted. And there's been like some debate. I kind of try to research it. I know that in the beginning of the league, people were having issues with tornado in general with the taming, so there was some stuff being fixed. However, some people are saying the fact that it has to overlap a surface is the reason why it's not working. But my point is, if it's working with taming in your hideout without overlapping anything, and it's coming as a direct effect of the taming, I should also be able to have it be consuming the 3. If it's coming out of cast on critical, it's just what casts it is the question. But anyways, so all I wanted to show you is that there's a way to fit in cast on critical. You can experiment, you can run stuff, whatever you'd like. I personally love Tornado if it works, because you can run Overabundance too, and then you would run Boundless Energy, and then you would run Catalyzing Elements. So if this worked the way it intended, or at least if it worked the way that we think it should, it would indicate that you would basically get the 3 elemental effects for free from the taming when you cast it, and you're going to cast 2 of them from Overabundance, and then you're also going to get Catalyzing Discharge, which basically gives us a lot more a lot of damage per element, and because we have the 3, it's a lot of damage, so it's good for bossing. And there's another thing I wanted to show here. I forgot now. H absorbed. It also, this is the one. So tornado that overlaps, it absorbs that surface debuff, applying it to the enemies inside the tornado. So what it means is we're actually going to be able to apply ailments immediately on the enemy, which is huge because, like I said, there was no other way for us to do this is kind of like that dot damage, right? But with our twisters kill everything on sight, so we don't even get a chance to accumulate ailments on the enemies. But this way, the ailments are on them before the tornadoes get to them, so that's crazy damage, right? Because we would get stuff like harness of the elements. But unfortunately, I don't think it works the way it does right now, because I'm not seeing the elemental ground effect kick in. However, it still consumes like 1 or 2 elemental surfaces that exists in maps as just your map rolls on the waystone. So I'm still using it from time to time just to have fun with it. But yeah, just wanted to show you guys as an option. This is something really cool. Keep an eye out for it. Maybe they fix the interaction if it's not intended, if it's not working the way it's intended now. So talking a little bit about the PoE ninja situation on the DPS chase, I said in my first video, there's always going to be a guy that comes after the leaderboards. Somebody who has an incredible amount of currency, and this gentleman is from the Chinese mirror team, and he came out of nowhere with perfectly rolled adorned, which is valued at 10 to 12 mirrors minimum, which is the entire cost of my build. And then he has a +4 sinister, which is another, like, I don't know how much they are now. Multiple mirrors anyways. I think he was playing a monk. I think he was the number 1 monk with Flicker Strike. And then, I don't know, he decided to come after me on the Spirit Walker Ascendancy, which is fun and stuff. But, one thing I want to tell you guys is PoENinja does not tell the full story. Of course, again, full disclaimer, Adorned is always going to be the best. But I really don't like Adorned builds, because all you do is you allocate all the sockets, and there's only like one way to to do it. There's no variance. And then you just take a couple of nodes along the way, and then it's just a matter of rolling your jewels in such a way that you get 100% crit chance, and then you get other stuff like evasion or whatever. I just feel like it's very one-dimensional. But I mean, it is cool if you have the currency, if you get lucky, if you have an Adorned. Like, why not play it? I nothing against it. It's just personally, I have a lot more fun sitting in PoENinja and trying to see how certain things interact with each other. I think that's the whole point of PoE. I think the Adorned just reduces that complexity by a lot, and I don't think that, and especially with a 5 affix jewel that we get this season, there's no way you're going to beat that combination. So kudos to him. But one thing I do want to comment on is, don't get discouraged. PoENinja does not tell the full story. It never does. You can never, there's certain builds, there's certain things that PoENinja will never translate that you have to turn on manually in PoB to fully see the impact of a build. There's so many, every season, there's always going to be sleeper builds, people that have a tooltip of maybe 100 key damage, but they have some crazy, insane tech that never gets translated. Because, for example, there's some multitude of skills, but the Frenzied Bear is not going to show you any DPS increase as is, because it has a condition. you have to consume a frenzy charge, and they're trying their best, right? So the team at the owner of PoENinja, he's trying to find like make a rule set, make a fine balance that if he sees certain conditions, he can kind of like toggle them on your behalf, kind of assume that they're going to be part of the interaction. But again, there's so many nuances and so many conditions, you can never account for all of them. And all I'm trying to say is like, don't get carried away with the damage numbers. I had some fun. Like there's a couple of guys chasing me. Obviously, I'm still position 2 after the Adorned guy. But like I had some interesting tech that I was playing with, and like when people saw me switch to low life, they were like putting this thing in like some random jewel that's 60. It's allocating only like X amount, and it's not even counting them as low life. So they completely misunderstanding the tree, right? And then also, the other hilarious one was I'll share this with you guys. So there's like this unique gem. If I go at Zeri something, and this is actually a tech I was really hoping that would work. One sec. I gotta find the gem in my inventory. All right, I'm back. So basically, this gem is insane. If you just slot it in, PoENinja, it gives you incredible DPS scaling. But it doesn't know that. No, not this one. Yeah, so I found a gem. So it's this one here. Zerphi's Infamy. So I was actually trying a legit tech, and I got it like 90% working. But there's like a innate interaction or mechanic of glory that I really dislike. That I hope they change fundamentally, because otherwise it just bricks the interaction. But essentially, what I was trying to do is, so this skill, okay, it gives you crazy damage at the cost of you having to generate glory to use it. So if you put this on Twister, for example, look at my DPS tooltip. It's massive, right? 2 million more, 2.1. So, but the problem is I can't use the skill, right? Because it requires glory to generate. And when people saw me doing this, they thought I was like boosting just DPS numbers unauthentically. They try to copy me, but I see they don't understand the interaction, because they kept their whirling slash level 1. So I know that they were just copying blindly. But there is something I was legitimately testing. So which was, if we make the skills level high, and then we do life tap on top of it. Okay, do life tap on top of it. This one, wait, that's the unique one. That's fine. So we do life on top of it. We're losing life, right? And now you can see that we're generating. See that yellow border around Twister? That's the condition for glory generation. So once I hit max, I can use the skill, right? But the way it sits right now, it's actually really bad, because you see how 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. It's not playable like this, right? There's no way you're gonna sit through 21 cycles losing life just to cast one Twister. So then what I did was I cooked a bit, and I said, okay, let's do increased glory generation. So we get it in 2 ways. So we can slot this in, and this already is going to be drastically better. If I slot this in right now, it's going to be incredible. Let me see if I have like a trash pair of gloves or something. What the hell is this garbage? So if you look now, okay, it's 50% more, right? So that's already a bit more manageable, let's say. Now you can take it a step further. I think it's another 50% or so. You can get that special rage / glory unique rune that lets you roll one of the modifiers that gives you even more reduction. So let's say that we solve the issue of being able to cast it fast enough, okay? And then the issue of life we can solve in multitude of ways, right? There's like regeneration stuff, like life and hit stuff we can do. So no problem. So we can solve the life issue and we can solve the issue of being able to cast. But the one thing you can solve, which is the innate interaction of glory, which I really dislike, and I don't know why it's the case, but it really works bad against Twister. And look at this. It's the fact that when Twisters are active, you cannot generate the glory. And this is actually in the tooltip itself. If you look at this, it says you cannot gain glory for a skill while any instance of that skill is actively unless that skill is a banner. So essentially what it's doing is it's bricking us completely with Twister because I want to be able to generate glory right now. Because if I am, then as soon as this thing is done persisting, I can start casting the second time. But I guess this is the way they nerfed it, but I don't know, like, I guess it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it needs time to rework. But this is where I got stuck. I solved everything. I solved the life. I solved the regeneration. Again, I'm like, okay, this is really exciting. I can actually get a crazy damage boost. But the problem is, guys, this is really where I get stuck, is the fact that Twisters, they're counterintuitive because they want to have prolonged duration. We're scaling skill effect duration. We're not trying to lower it. And I tried that as well. I tried to lower skill effect duration just for the sake of doing that. But then I realized it's like, what are you playing at that point? You're playing two different competing principles or mechanics, and it just doesn't work. But anyways, I just wanted to share that just to clear up some confusion on PoENinja, that I wasn't just DPS boosting. I was legit trying to cook something up with this. But this is as far as I've got, and unless they fundamentally change the way Glory works, I don't think it's something that's playable, boys. I just wanted to clear that up. All right, guys. Well, that concludes the video. I hope this helps you. I hope you swap successfully, and I hope it works for you. If you have any issues, again, just let me know in the comments below. And you can always reach out to me in game if you're interested to mirror any of those items. It's at CLPx. Take care, guys. Enjoy.